Finally happened. The Green Bay Packers have released Jaire Alexander, and I got to be honest with you, I'm pretty surprised by this. It, I don't want to say it came out of nowhere because we've been expecting a resolution to come at some point, and mandatory minicamp starts tomorrow, so they wanted to make sure that this got done before that. But I think that after last Tuesday, every single one of us were on the train and we're on the thinking that Jaire Alexander would end up back in Green Bay after they offered him that restructured contract. Obviously, the two sides couldn't come to a deal. The two sides couldn't come to agreement. And Green Bay wanted to do the right thing for a guy who's done a lot of great things for them, and they wanted to release him and let him kind of pick where he goes next in free agency. But I really, really thought that the two sides were getting closer to an agreement. This has gone back and forth and up and down a ton over the last, 5 months, ever since the very end of the season. He spoke to the media. He said, you know what, I don't even know if I'm going to be here next year. I'm not, if I don't have anything good to say, I'm not going to say anything, right? That happened at locker room cleanout day. And then everything leading up to the draft kind of seemed like he was going to get traded. Ultimately, they couldn't find a trading partner. They couldn't find anybody that was willing to give them what they felt like he was worth, which is fair from both perspectives, right? Brian Gutekunst said, you know what, we've invested a lot in Jaire Alexander. We want to make sure we're getting a lot in return. But also, other teams saw the fact that he's missed 20 games in the last 2 seasons, and they're like, we're not going to trade one of our premium draft assets for a guy who has missed more games than he's played over the last 2 years by a pretty good margin as well. And so you can see it from both sides how that makes sense. But then after the draft went by, pretty much everything that was being reported, everything that was coming out of, anything from NFL insiders to anything from Brian Gutekunst to the Packers, it kind of seemed like he was going to be back, right? Matt Steinman dropped the bomb last Tuesday. They offered him a restructured contract. It was the first thing that anything official had happened, and everybody kind of felt, myself included, that we're moving in the right direction, that Green Bay was moving in the right direction to bring him back. And today, officially, they have released him. Now, it happened after June 1st. We knew it was going to happen. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen after June 1st because they just saved $17 million in cap space with only a $7 million cap hit. If this was done pre-June 1st, it would have been, they saved only $7 million, about a $17 million dead cap hit. So they did it at the right time. But now I feel like the attention needs to shift to, okay, what is next? Because a healthy Jaire Alexander makes this team a lot better. Now, is a healthy Jaire Alexander enough to justify paying $17.5 million? Because that's what he was on the books to make in 2025. I don't know, especially with the question marks of his ability to stay on the field. Regardless, though, him being gone makes this team worse. There's a lot that you're going to have to figure out now. Who's going to step up? Are you going to rely on somebody else to step up, like a King or Valentine? Or are you going to look to free agency, see who's out there, say, ooh, this guy's still available, this guy's still available, let's bring him in here. Asante Samuel Jr. is still out there. He's dealt with injuries, though. So do you want to bring in another injured young cornerback? There's a lot of questions that have to be answered. Kalen King, apparently a couple weeks ago, was doing really, really well, right? But then OTA started, and he's kind of had an up and down time as well. Seems like he's gotten targeted a lot. I don't want to say picked on, but it seems like he's been the guy that Jordan Love's been deciding to throw to. Nate Hobbs, what's going to happen with him? We all know that he plays in the slot mostly, but he has a lot of reps at outside corner. Jeff Hafley has spoken. Matt LaFleur has spoken. Those are two guys that have talked about his ability to play a ton of different positions, to play all over the field, to play on the inside, to play on the outside. So do they finally say, you know what, let's just run with Nate Hobbs on the outside this season? I doubt that's what happens, but we'll see. That's the good thing, though, about this happening now in June. I'm glad that if these two parties were going to come to a disagreement, it was going to be now. It was going to be in June. It was going to be when there's still 3 months, almost, a little less, before we're actually kicking off and actually playing meaningful football. But they've got to get this position figured out. I said last week with Jaire in this secondary, this is one of the best secondaries in football with a healthy Jaire there. If he's not there, it still has the ability to be good, still has the ability to be talented, but it definitely takes a hit. Now, I'm not worried about the safety position. I'm not worried about that at all. We all know how we feel about McKinney and Williams. But the cornerback room, that's going to need to take a little bit of figuring out. Is Keisean Nixon ready to be cornerback one? I don't know. If he is he still returning kicks? I don't think so. He actually talked about that last week, kind of walked back his statements from after the season. But man, regardless, this is surprising. It is. I thought that everything from last week kind of pointed to, okay, he's going to be back in Green Bay. Because it just made sense. It made sense to me from both sides, right? It made sense to me from Green Bay's side of, you know what, we get to keep one of our really good players. We get to feel confident about where that side of the football is. But also, in my opinion, it felt like it made sense for Jaire as well. Think about it, right? And we've talked about this a ton as I slap my laptop. If he takes a, $7 million pay cut, signs a 1-year, $10 million deal with a team, that's 40% of his contract right there that he's just taking a pay cut on? No guaranteed money left. If he just takes a restructured contract that's incentive-based, he gets paid the games he's played, there's a chance he can probably make up to close to $17 million again if he plays a lot. Obviously, he didn't like what they were being offered. Obviously, Green Bay was like, okay, this is our offer. We're not going to change it. This is it. You take it or you leave it. And he left it. So, Green Bay's the corner. Jaire Alexander is now on the free agent market. And now this team's going to turn to who's going to be next to be that cornerback one for this team. That'll be it. I'll be back in the studio later today. Woke up immediately, got cranking on this. So I'll see y'all later. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed.